Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the Clallam EDC Coffee Chat, Coffee with Colleen. We are really happy to have Eddie Reetz here with us today from the Department of Corrections, specifically the Clallam Bay Correctional Center, and a big employer for Clallam County. And we are excited to hear about what's happening from an employment perspective. And I'm sure I'm always curious about the world out there. So we'll be able to ask him lots of questions. He has Eddie, when did you start with Department of Corrections or as the superintendent?
Just about a year now in
Okay. Okay, got it. Great. And so a couple of housekeeping items before we kick it off. If you'll please keep yourself on mute so we don't get background noise. And then also, if you have questions, we like this to be interactive. So you can either put your question in the chat and we will ask the question for you, or you please feel free to raise your hand and you can ask Eddie a question directly. So this recording will be up on our website later today, thanks to Mitchell Kuntz. And so if you want to share it with anybody, you can later this afternoon. So with that, Eddie, again, thank you so much for joining us and tell us all about life over at the Clallam Bay Correctional Center.
All right. So I've been working at Clallam Bay Correctional Center for a good part of 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm very familiar with the facility and the custody and all the things we do. We currently have around 710 in our population, and we can hold 900. We have a couple units that are still closed after the COVID and some other restrictions and funding and that. So we do have two units closed. Um, we house medium, close, and max custody. So we have different levels that we manage, and the population out here is a little bit tougher population. So we work closely with them, and we try to do a really good job to work with them so they can head towards reentry and things like that and programming.
So a couple questions already. So you said two units are closed. How many total units are there?
There's four close custody units, then the four medium, and then one SEG and one max custody.
One SEG, you said?
SEG, yeah, it's
What does
a
that mean?
segregation unit. So like
Oh,
if you get into a fight,
okay.
until we can figure it out to make sure everyone's safe on everyone's side, population, that person and the staff, we'll put you in the secured housing and we'll do a quick investigation on it.
Uh-huh. So which two types of units are closed currently?
We have one close custody unit and one medium custody unit closed.
Okay. And so the difference between medium custody and closed custody, what does that look like?
It's the easiest way to say it is the supervision required for you. So if you're in close custody, you require more custody supervision on that. So that's really the minimum, medium, close, max. The higher you go, the more officer coverage is required.
How many of these folks are in their own individual cells, or is this like, I'm trying to envision it, is this bunk beds in a room?
Yeah, so there's two beds to a cell. And so of course in the max custody and segregation, those are single cell. So
Okay.
you would we call it double bunk. You could be double bunked, uh, on compatibility. Some of the population must have a single cell. So if you're single cell designation, you'd be in a single cell.
Okay. Okay. So 710 people in custody out of 900. How often do you have people rotating out of there? Like, do you have people being released and entering in every day?
Yeah, every day. So there's the transfer in bus, process that we do, like 4 times a week. People are releasing, so we do their release, their reentry, their GRE, that's the release stuff that they do. So yeah, this is the best way to say this. This is like a really big city on a hill that has everything. We have a medical clinic, food service, maintenance, uh, education, other programs. We do a lot. We do our plumbing, uh, we do the repairs. Uh, there's there's a lot happening here.
Mhm. And how many total employees do you have there at
We have
Palm
over
Bay Correctional
we have
Center?
we have over 300 employees,
Okay.
and um, so you got custody staff and non-custody staff, and then Peninsula College helps here too. So um, you you factor all the moving parts, and there's a lot of people here that help out.
Okay. And what's the split between custody staff and non-custody?
The custody is a lot higher. It's 200 and something.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I keep on interrupting you. You go
I'll
ahead
keep
with
asking.
your,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Um, so uh, so anyways, you know, a lot of stuff that we do is programming to get them for reentry. So we offer many classes. Uh, there's the Peninsula College, there's the building and maintenance course that we have. We have baking program, peer mentorship programs, uh, some welding, a flagger certificate that we're getting ready to do.
Right.
We are starting to partner with WorkSource, so when they release to get a job and be work ready, we're working on that. Uh, um, we're we're we do a lot. I mean, it's so hard for me to really try to explain it to everyone, but the goal is, to try to provide meaningful programming uh, and you know, leave here better than when you got here.
So of those 710 people that are in custody approximately, what does their typical day look like? If there is all these classes, are those only for people that have had good behavior? And do you have a subset that are problematic that they don't get classes and those kind of benefits, and then the majority are, attend classes? What, can you explain that, describe that for us?
So if you're in the general population, uh, you can sign up for classes and then take the classes. And if there's room, we'll put you in a class. And so we offer those. Like if you want to get into a maintenance thing or the laundry and where there's additional screenings because you're around tools and equipment and other things, we look at all that to make sure that nobody gets hurt. At the end of the day, we still have to manage safe operations.
Mhm.
And
So
so, but
what portion of your population has mental health issues, and when they come in, and what percentage have addiction issues?
well, it's hard to answer, but it's almost like, the real world. There's a lot, a lot of people have mental health concerns, the addiction, the MAC clinic stuff and all the other programs. So we do have psych associates and other people that, help with that. And that's ongoing. I think that the best way for me to explain that is, It's as real in prison as it is outside on the streets.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. And so do you have like a psychiatrist on staff and
Yeah, we have a mental health team.
okay. And how often are you having to have, you know, did a lot of your population, they receive therapy, or is it just that when they are in crisis that they receive treatment?
It's both. We do
It's
both. Yeah,
okay,
we
great.
can do referrals. So like if I can tell that somebody's maybe having a bad day, we can do a referral. And sometimes those come in from family, they'll call and let us know that, hey, my son or my spouse is having a difficult day, and we'll do a referral.
Okay. Uh-huh. So, and how often does that occur?
It's periodic. It can be in waves, you know.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Does,
it's
yeah. How much time does the population get outdoors?
they get access to recreation every day. Um,
Good.
yeah, so you know, like on some of our things that we're having a little bit of challenges on the hiring for the officers. So we have a high number of vacancies right now, and that's been the challenge. So, we're doing all the recruiting we can and trying to do that. But those have impact. So if we don't have enough individuals for a shift, we may have to reduce some programming. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so um, that's some of the stuff that uh, you know our challenges, our remote area, the lack of housing that's out here. A lot of people have difficulty trying to find housing to come out here and work. Um,
Mhm.
Downtown in the community, with the school and a lot of Airbnbs are are happening and from the houses that they're buying, which then takes away from the school. It takes away from people trying to find housing out here, and it has negative impacts on everything. So, but I have been meeting with the local community and some team at our headquarters, and we've been talking to one of the legislatures and Mike French, trying to figure out how to get additional housing out here.
Yeah,
So we're working on that. I mean, that can't happen overnight, but
right.
I really think it needs to be forecasted for the future to try to have something happening because it has, like I said, a very big impact on a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about your open positions that you have in at the center?
Yeah, so we have the custody officers. So we have a lot of custody officers.
How
Um,
many?
I want to think we have about 30
Wow.
positions. Yeah, yeah. And um, we did get some additional approved positions too. So you add the new ones and the vacancies that we have. So um, that number is pretty high. We have a recruitment open for a maintenance mechanic for. So that's out there. Um, we have a construction and maintenance project supervisor that that's at the final stage of those. So there'll be a candidate most likely selected here within probably a week or two. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then we have cooks. So we need cook ACs. Adult corrections is what the AC stands for. We have that. We're recruiting for a correctional captain at the moment, so we'll be needing a new captain. Um, then we have a opening that we're doing for a corrections specialist assistance in the hearings. So we have a hearings department where we do the hearings, and then they have an assistant that preps all the paperwork and does all that stuff to make sure everything is prepared for a hearing. And then we have administrative assistant four to the superintendent's office, and that's for me. I do have a temporary person in that position, but that is a vacant position. And then that that person is internal, so that creates another temporary vacant behind that permanent position. So they have ripple effects when people fill other positions temporarily, but it's a needed necessary. If you know the work, it has to be done. And it's opportunity for other people to get some growth and development in the position. And then we have the warehouse worker positions. So those are just a few of the vacancies that we have. And our pay, um, our, our pay is pretty good. So, corrections officers make really good money. I do have people trying to transfer here from other states, and um, a lot of it is, better pay, and they feel that our Washington correction system is safer. So they've worked in both, so they can do a comparison. But the feedback to me is that they feel safer working in Washington corrections. So I mean, that's good to hear. But the challenges are, like I was saying earlier, if they can't find housing, they do not stay that long. And we do a lot of investment in their training and stuff. So that's impactful. And um, but I mean, I for being here for this many years, and there's a lot. I care. We support the community, and um, I mean, I I wish other people would like apply and work here. And realize how with the medical, the vacation leave, the sick leave, and all that, it really does help the family. Clallam Transit and works with us for van pools to help, you can ride a van pool, and currently there's no charge for that. We work and pay the difference on that. Um, so that is another thing that, it's like a benefit to have to come this far from Port Angeles or Forks, and some people live in Squim, and uh, all that adds up. But there's a lot of good that happens here. Um, there's some generations of staff that have their kids working here when their parents have retired, and you see a lot of people that carry on the business, and um, you know, it's, it is,
Yeah.
it's helpful, and, they have an understanding of how everything works.
So we have a question in the chat from John Temple. He says, do you hire from within? I assume so.
We hire from within, we hire from the outside. We do the competitive hiring. We do all of that. So yeah, I mean, I will tell you, sometimes the remoteness, you don't get a lot of applicants.
Yeah.
So, um,
Right. So you talked about 710 total inmates, and do you call them inmates, or do you refer to them as something else?
Incarcerated individuals.
Incarcerated individuals. Okay. Is that a negative term that is not politically correct?
Well, it's a term that we're moving away from,
Okay.
as the agency.
Okay.
And our goal is not to be demeaning, and
Yeah.
and often the feedback is it feels offensive to be called an
Okay.
inmate.
Got it.
So I mean, through the years, it went from convict, when I first started in the late 80s, all the way through the changes of everything. Um, but safe and humane prisons, and respectful communication, and
Got it.
all of that is our goals.
Yep. So in incarcerated individuals, you have currently about 710, but a maximum capacity of 900. I remember hearing after the state v. Blake case, where the Washington State Supreme Court ruled that anyone, and correct me if I've got this wrong, but anyone that was arrested because they had narcotics on their possession that was deemed to not be an offense that you could be prosecuted for or convicted for. So that changed the numerical system that the state uses to determine how long you have to stay in prison. And so that was all recalculated for every incarcerated individual. And a lot of people were suddenly let out of prison because they had met their time that they needed to serve. And that then a whole bunch of people were released. And so the state generally had more capacity than they needed. Is that right in the corrections
The Blake
system?
decision, yeah, the Blake decision had some impacts, and so there was realignments and the sentences were reviewed and there was releases during that. Yeah.
So I remember hearing about that in 2021. Is that still the case? Why, like the capacity is 710, but no, I'm sorry, the capacity is 900, but you only have 710 incarcerated individuals. So and I also heard that maybe some correctional centers would be closed down entirely. Is that something that you think might hit your center?
No, I don't really know,
Okay.
so, um, they manage, the prisons with, the funding they receive and, the bed capacities. So it depends on wherever their bed capacities are. And I'm sure they look at their future needs too.
And have they shut down any since 2021 in
Yeah,
across the state?
there's been a few, facilities that had some closures.
Okay. Okay. All right. And Mitch, I saw your hand raised earlier. Do you have a question for Eddie?
Yeah, I was partially answered, but I was curious. I've heard of correctional officers transitioning into police officer roles later on. I was curious if there's any room for internal growth within there, being hired as a correctional officer and then moving your way up. Obviously, Eddie, you're an example of that, working there for 30 plus years and now being the superintendent. But I was just curious, one, what are the qualifications needed to be a correctional officer? And then what opportunities are there for growth if you are hired as a corrections officer?
Yeah, uh, so, there's really not that many qualifications. You do have to pass the background check. You have to do a psych review and, all of those pieces. So, the beauty of this job, I would tell you, is really what you put in it is what you get out of it. So, like, if you really want to make a difference in someone's life and help with change, this is like part of your calling. And I always, you care. Um, People have made mistakes that are here, and it's good when they own them and they work towards that, and they figure out some goals. They may have never even set their own goals or really learned who they are. And if you take advantage of all these things, you can see that transitional change happen. It's really kind of amazing. And so I've always tried to help and do my part, take advantage of the classes and the training that they offer. Because a lot of the stuff is, it's based for the work we do. And so I would just say that those are the steps that I did for my career was, always be part of the team, help out, learn what I can and continue to support and make this a good place to work.
Great. So Dr. Susie Ames, the president of Peninsula College, has her hand raised. Susie?
Thanks, Colleen. Hi, Eddie. Nice to see you. Sorry, I'm not on camera this morning. I was glad that you recognized Peninsula College. Thank you for doing that. I just wanted to share some highlights. Peninsula College is just super proud to partner with Department of Corrections and the work that we do both at Clallam Bay and Olympic Correction Center. So we're this spring, as we get ready for graduation next week, the college will be offering 112 high school diplomas to adults who didn't make it the first time through in high school, and 41 of those are correction students, and we're just super proud of them for making that first step. We're also granting one associate's in arts degree and 2 job training certificates. So there's a lot of data that shows if an incarcerated individual goes through the education that's offered in the prison, they are better inmates. So they treat the staff better, they treat their co-inmates together better. And when they get out, and 99% of them are going to get out someday, they're better neighbors, they're better employers. And so it's just a really great partnership. So just wanted to add that.
Great. Thanks so much, Dr. Ames.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah, that's really great. 41, you said, individuals that
Yeah.
were, all right,
Yeah.
they got their GED that are incarcerated individuals at the Clallam Bay Correctional Center. That is just fabulous.
Yeah.
So a couple questions in the chat, and then we'll get to you, Roy. Paul Gottlieb asks, how well are incarcerated individuals prepared for life in the world outside of prison?
I think it goes pretty well. I mean, we have the necessary stuff. So if you're willing to take the programming, work on your release readiness stuff, and do that. I mean, we have some you can apply for a housing certificate, so you can get up to 6 months of housing. There's a lot of good stuff for this. Like I was saying, I can bring you back, 30 some years, and I can bring you into today. And today, being ready for release is really good. I mean, it's so much better, and you can succeed if you apply yourself. That's just like a really good thing that I really like seeing in here, because years ago was you got a little bit of money and out the gate you went. I would say that Department of Corrections in Washington State is just phenomenal in trying to do all those reentry initiatives.
So, question about those housing certificates for 6 months. I mean, I know that Peninsula Housing Authority and our housing providers have 4,000 people on the waiting list. Is there housing in Clallam County for these folks that are released? Are they going, is the housing availability somewhere else?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I don't have your full answer on that, but people are from different counties. So
Yeah.
we help in all the counties in the state.
And so and I understand when people are released from Clallam Bay Correctional Center, they're sent back to the location where they lived or where they were arrested. They aren't released in Clallam County necessarily, unless that was their home of record prior to being incarcerated.
Yeah, so the county of origin. Yeah.
Yeah, the county of origin. Got it. So Julia has a follow-up question to Paul's. Are there programs such as OU-T by Jenny Burton and other recovery programs in the prison? How is reentry support in Clallam County specifically?
Well, we offer the classes that we have that we can make available. So, chemical dependency coordinator, I believe we have that open to a person to teach that. We had one. What we find is it doesn't have a lot of, like high enough pay, and a lot of people don't take that position because of that. But if we can get a class and make it available, then we do that. That's probably the best way to, answer that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that Julia, what is OU-T by Jenny Burton?
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can get going here. So Jenny's, she lives in Olympia and she was incarcerated for on and off for 9 years. And she managed to get the right counselors and went back to school, became a social worker. And the OUT program has been created by her to help teach living skills, accountability, making better choices in order for when people leave prison, they have the tools that they need. They're not just going back out and going, well, I feel really bad and scared. I'm going to do meth or, I'm going to go back to crime because that's what I know. And so she's had some successful work in the last, it's pretty new in the last 3 years. And I don't remember which prisons, a couple prisons in Washington. I know she's talking to folks in Port Angeles, but basically, I mean, it doesn't have to be her program per se, but just I know that so when she created the program 3 years ago, I went through a bunch of her friends. We went through the pilot program to see how it went, just to like experience it. And it's actually really powerful. And she has some alumni who have finished it and are starting to kind of thrive as they're getting out of prison. Um, and I don't know if there's other programs like that around, but I know that for her, she just happened to have the right therapist, and there was a guard that kind of took her under her wing the last time she was in prison 15 years ago, and she said it was life changing. So I just through her, I have no idea what it's like to be incarcerated, but just through knowing her, I know how important that kind of support is to kind of just the person has to decide themselves, but having that little push, that little support is kind of a jumping point for a lot of people.
Yeah, Julia, yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
So we do offer classes, like reentry. It starts on day one when you get incarcerated. And then we have the Washington Way program, and that helps. We do offer classes. We do like some parenting, and we do all the classes. But yeah, I'm I think I'm familiar with the person you're talking about, where they realized it. Someone said something supportive to help them out, and then she got the tools that she needed, learned about herself, and has nothing but positive to say. And I think that's the same person you're talking about.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, um,
You, oh, one more follow-up question. Do you have peer counselors? I have a friend in Florida that works as a peer counselor someone who has been in prison. Is that a program in Washington State also?
in the Washington Way, we're starting to put out some stuff. So we have some contact staff and some other things that we're working on. So the Washington Way program is really good. We have a little team that's here right now, and so they work with the population, and it's just amazing. I mean, uh, we've had individuals that will tell you their story that they didn't believe in it themselves. And once they realize that the staff that are there to help them really do care, and spend a little additional time with them, and they start to open up and work towards bettering themselves, and it's been really helpful. We've been told that we have the best resource team in Department of Corrections right now, and that's right out here in Clallam Bay, in this remote area, and that's a big deal. I have staff that say they come to work now that work in there, and they really love their job. It's like it's changed for them as well. So that benefit is for all of us. And the Washington Way program is for staff too. I mean, if we can lessen stress and have better communication and those things, it's just healthier for all of us. So I give kudos to Washington State for taking that on and doing a good job.
Right. Roy, you have a question?
I do. I think I'm off mute. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me lower my hand first so that goes away. Uh, I want to make a comment. I want to give a shout out, and then I want to ask a specific question. First, nice to see you, Eddie. We met the afternoon that the secretary came with his team to open the newly renovated library there at the Correction Center. Um, and the comment actually ties to something that Julia said. For context, when I was in graduate school in Berkeley, I volunteered once a week or worked for the California State Department of Corrections and volunteered at San Quentin um, once a week. And the thing that struck me the most in visiting the inmates throughout the prison there is they're ordinary people who have made, a serious mistake. And anyway, so that's kind of a comment, and ordinary real people, right? The shout out I want to give is a few weeks after you and I met, Eddie, out at the correction center. My wife and I were at the Squim Costco, and we just happened to cross paths with a woman named Jennifer Kelly and her husband um, Jerry, who were in Squim visiting someone who had been at the correction center as an incarcerated individual, but was out, and he and his wife had recently had a new baby. And in any case, Jennifer um, has been volunteering. We learned once a month there at the Clallam Bay Correction Center, and she talked about your work, your leadership now as the new superintendent in a really positive way. So that's my shout out. Now, the specific question is, I wonder if you could address, well, you used the word calling earlier. I wonder if you could address the role of volunteers like Jennifer that come from, that are coming in once a month or periodically, and kind of what role that plays in terms of engaging with the people that you have there at the correction center.
All right. Yeah, volunteers are extremely important, and our volunteer numbers are low from when COVID did. And then a lot of the volunteers, I would call them lifelong volunteers. They're like the best way to say it is you age out. You get older and the drive out here. Some come from Port Townsend, come from Kingston, all over. Is um, is vital. The population, they really appreciate being out of their cell, going to programming, having volunteers come up and help sponsor them and teach them. And yeah, Jennifer and them, they do good work. And they invest in a lot of their time. And I will tell you that I do my job, and I also help sponsor the redemption program that we have here because of the lack of volunteers. It makes a difference. And at the end of the day, we do all share the same I would say concerns in life that we all go through. We're all relatable, and when you listen to the stories, they hit home because someone in that room, really are sharing the same stuff that you kind of went through yourself. And you know, anxiety and all other things that people have, to talk about it and how they work through it. And I don't know. I just tell you that it's real, for me, it's real moving, and I can tell if someone's in there that really wants change. And how do we get them to change? And some of these people have never had a job. And so I mean, I encourage them to take a job here inside the prison so that, they can learn some of those skills and interview and reference. I tell them reference is important. So if you really don't want to work in the kitchen, but if you go in that kitchen and you do a really good job in that cook AC, gets a phone call from another department that you're trying to get a job in, that reference check is really just as good as it is out there in society. And so, the light bulb comes on to some people understanding that. But I mean, like I was saying, I do a lot of this because I care. I care about population. I care about our employees. I've been with them here for, decades. And um, it is really a, a really good place to work. It's not what you see on TV.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Kai has a question in the chat that I think we kind of answered, but are prisoners at the end of their sentence normally brought back to where they were tried and sentenced and released, so their county of origin, or are they released at the correction where the correction center is located?
No, so we got to follow the policies and stuff where the release must occur. Sometimes we have to drive them. It depends on where it is. We have the bus services that we can use if it's on the bus route, and it's timely to get to where your destination is. Yeah, we family picks people up. A lot of family comes and friends come and pick up people that are releasing. So yeah, so it's all over the place. But and clothing, if you need some clothing, we have release clothing, and we do that. So what we don't want you is to go out here in the clothing that makes sense.
Yeah, I've always wondered, how does the Department of Corrections select which facility if a person is found guilty and sentenced to prison, then how does the Department of Corrections determine which prison they'll go to? And how many are there in the state?
Well, I don't know the exact number. I'd have to look at the chart, but there's quite a few.
Okay.
That's you go to when you get incarcerated, you go to the Washington receiving unit, and then you're screened. So in that process, they determine the crime, and all the pieces to that to where you'll start your incarceration. So that's how it works.
Do they ever consider, well, this person is from Clallam County and we want to put them in the Clallam Bay Correctional Center because then their family wouldn't have to commute as far to go visit them? Is that ever a consideration?
That's hard to answer, honestly, Colleen, because you also can be well known out in the community, and the people that work here might be really close to you too. And so that can be problematic too.
Okay.
So all of it's weighed, and then uh you sometimes people are moved because of family, maybe something that's going on with health or whatever. I mean, the department tries to be fair on that, but we still have to do things safely, and we have to do the piece too about the connection.
Mhm. And so there are no women that are incarcerated there. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
all
how many people are in the maximum custody unit?
we have a 62 bed, but
Okay.
not all are on max.
Okay.
And that will always fluctuate.
Okay. And let's see. What percentage of, so if you get incarcerated for the rest of your life, do you automatically go to maximum custody?
No.
No. So how is it determined whether the incarcerated individual has to go to maximum custody? Is that based on behavior at the prison?
Yeah, it's review, safety, behavior, threat level, all of it's reviewed, and then it's determined how long you stay there, what programs you take. There's a lot, there's a lot to, the goal is to remove you out of there as safely as possible.
Okay. And what's the typical length of someone serving there? And also how many people are in there for life in prison?
In max custody,
Or just any custody? How many are lifers?
well, I got this chart that shows me, I have to go refer to it, but there's a percentage of that. And so I can't really give you that number without looking at it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, but we have a percentage of that too.
Like 5, 50, not 50, I'm sure, but
I don't have the
it's a
number.
low percentage though.
Yeah, I don't,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to answer it and then not give you correct
Got it.
information.
Got it. Okay.
That's just how I work.
Yeah, I get it. So let's see, Paul has a question in there here. How differently are your younger incarcerated individuals around 18 years old confined and treated compared to older inmates?
Good question, Paul. Uh, we treat everybody the same, but the generations are different, and so we work with that. Uh, so a lot of the older ones that are here, they've figured out how to do their time, is how they say it, and the younger generation, they are, they like their electronics. They want, they're used to their phones and all these other pieces that are different. We do have a tablet that you can have that is been in the department for a few years now, which it's been really helpful. So that we have that as an incentive thing. I worked with the Washington Way and I opened up an Xbox game room. So they can use some of those games and stuff in there, and that it's been going real well. It's only been open for like maybe a couple of months now. But just listening to everyone and trying to figure out, helping them with their happy place and what we can do to support that. That's one of the newer things that we did, Paul.
Okay, great. So am I right, Eddie, that if you're found guilty of a crime and you are sentenced to less than a year, you go to jail? So like the Clallam County Jail. But if it's over a year, then you are sent to one of the Department of Corrections facilities. Is that right? Or am I wrong about that?
The last time I that I've kept up on it, you get a year and a day, you ultimately you go to prison.
Okay, got it. So less than a year, you stay at the jail in at Clallam County Courthouse.
Yeah, I can't speak for Colleen, but I mean, that used to be the rule of thumb.
Okay, that's what I thought I understood. And so John Temple asks, do you have a way for evaluating individuals to tell a prospective employer that someone has really turned around in their lives and likely would not re-offend again? It seems to me that someone who is really sorry would work hard for their opportunity to get back into society.
Um, well, we do the reentry stuff, the the classes you take, all of that, the risk assessment, everything. I think that a lot of it is, you do that and you prepare them and they make meaningful change and um you go from there.
So you don't write letters of recommendation
We don't
for incarcerated individuals? No. I missed Kelly's question. Kelly Kidwell asks, have you seen examples of public-private partnerships to create housing developments that could operate as a dedicated first step housing solution to help those who are released to take productive steps towards getting back on their feet?
I haven't here for me, you know what I mean? But I don't know if it's happening agency-wide. That's how I would probably best answer that for you, Kelly.
Mhm. So if someone's from Clallam County and they have a housing certificate from Clallam Bay Correctional Center or one of the other 13 or so correctional centers across the state, who serves them in Clallam County? Is that Peninsula Housing Authority? And do they have set aside units for those individuals?
Um, I can't answer that. I don't have the answer for that because that would
Okay,
work through the counselor and the unit
okay,
to those pieces. I just know
okay,
we have those available.
okay. Well, that's good, great that they exist. So I think I've run through most of my questions. It's like a fascinating different world where I know you guys are trying so hard to help individuals move from incarceration into a more productive member of society. Would it, what percentage of your inmates would you say are just, when I was in the Army, I used to say 90% of my time is spent on 10% of the soldiers. And when I was a platoon leader and commander and that kind of thing, would you say that's the case too with the group of individuals at the correctional center?
A good percentage. I mean, it, I mean, everyone has like, their 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 needs they want to and their stuff they like to see. So um, we listen to ideas, we do things like we had like this cornhole tournament with the staff and the population. It was really big. I mean, it was a big deal. The competition was on, and
That's great.
we paired a staff with an incarcerated. So they teamed together. So we're building, good communication. Uh, doing all kind of things to do that. We get proposals every day from the population. The challenge is finding someone that is able to facilitate that. And like one of my dreams in the pipeline is like since we're so remote, it would be nice to have additional staff to do these programs.
Mhm.
So that if we know the challenge is getting volunteers um, and some additional programming that we could do to facilitate that out of cell time is great,
Mhm.
so I'll constantly work on that. And it's like one of my things that I want to do. And the other thing, like I was telling you, is trying to find some housing in the community for the
Mhm.
employees.
So Eddie, if someone on this call wanted to volunteer, how would they reach out to offer that volunteerism?
Oh, so Tanya Kane is our volunteer program
Can
person.
you put her info in the chat for everyone?
Yeah, yeah, I could add it.
Great.
But here's the thing though, she's getting ready to retire at the end of this month, and so
Oh, no.
we'll have a brand new person that will be taking that position. Her name is Bobby Smith. So we're working on that. But I would in like getting close to closing here, I would say that the work we do is really good work, Colleen. We make a huge difference in the community. Um, Even in economics with the funding and all that, it's helpful. Um, Volunteering is great. If you know somebody that would want to volunteer, or if they would like to do a tour to come up here and experience it, we would do that. If you have friends or family, people that you know that want to work out here and live in Clallam County and get a good paying job that will support their family, this is it. We provide the training. We're a safe place. And there's a lot. You can make a career out of it, and you can learn about yourself just as well. Because of all the stuff that happens, it's like it's a learning journey too, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Great. So Commissioner Randy Johnson has his hand raised. Randy, go ahead.
Yes, the subject of WorkSource was mentioned. I'm just trying to understand how WorkSource interfaces with the incarcerated population from training, interviewing, whatever, and how many individuals are involved in that program.
Um, so good question. It's new, it's coming soon, so we just got our stuff and we've got a notice, so we haven't even had our first meeting yet, Randy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So more to come.
More to
So
come.
can you talk a little bit about what you do to prevent drugs from getting into the incarcerated population? I know I heard about for people would put meth or something that was liquid form on paper and send in a birthday card or something. They could eat the paper and to get high. So you guys now are Xeroxing letters so that the paper doesn't actually get through. What other things are you having to deal with, and how often do you have to deal with that?
Yeah, so uh every day, people try to compromise our security and do that. So we screen our mail, we do make photocopies. Um, uh, we have a canine dog. We have our intelligence and investigation department. And so we do everything we can do to stop that threat so that that dangerous contraband doesn't get in here and get somebody hurt. But it is real. And we're not the only place that experienced that. And but I will tell you, we work great with Clallam County on any kind of convictions that we need to do. They're phenomenal too. They're a great partner.
Well, that's terrific. So I see Mitch put in the chat information about volunteer program across the Department of Corrections. Good for you finding that. Thank you very much, Mitch. And so we are about 9 o'clock. So does anyone have any last questions for Eddie? Okay, not seeing any. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today, Eddie, and doing the great work that you do, the really important work for our society and helping these individuals trying to become, transitioning them to become better members of society. Oh, I see Mike Doherty has his hand raised. Mike?
I think grateful community thanks Superintendent and for the substantive discussion, and thank his employees for doing the important work that they do.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, yeah, I can't say it enough. It's the people that work here that make this place a really good place, and they put a lot into it. It really is like one big family. And like my ask is like if you guys know anyone that's looking for employment, really consider us. I think that trying it out and doing that, you'll realize it's really good work. So if you want change and you got you got what your purpose is, um uh this is a great place to help fulfill purpose. My purpose is to help, and make change. And I feel that from working here.
Yeah, thank you. Really important work. So we've hit the 9 o'clock hour. Thank you so much for joining us, Eddie. And again, this will be up on our YouTube channel later today. So feel free to share it with others. I think it is pretty interesting and informative. So everyone, have a great day. And thank you again, Eddie. Bye.